Hello, my name is Jude Peterson, and I'm the level designer working on this adventure project. In this first area, I wanted to offer the player a safe space to get used to the climbing mechanic in the level. Once at the top, the player could see a landmark in the distance and the way to proceed. Once the player has climbed down the tower, the player will then use the runes and cobblestones to enter the first transition. Once the player enters the first transition, they notice the bridge is out and the only way to cross it is by climbing the treacherous cliffside. To cross this cliffside, the player must use what they learned in the start of the level. As they scale the cliffside, they will be offered spots of refuge and prospect as they enter the cliffside tower. The player will then make it to the other side and see the main focal point of the level. Lit torches guide the player as breadcrumbs. Then the sequencer will drop the boards to create my first valve in the level. I really enjoy getting the level sequencer to work here. The player has made it to the temple entrance. They must climb up the face of the temple to enter. After the player scales the temple face, they must go through the right eye hole. Once the player is inside the temple, they must find their way into the inner sanctum. They do this by climbing over temple ruins and spikes. Torches and pieces of gold provide the golden path and the way to exit the temple. I wanted to create a labyrinth here, but I felt that the size maximum of the project wouldn't have provided a fun experience for the player. Once the player drops down into the inner sanctum, they will be on the other side of a second valve. The gold pieces entice the player to jump down the hole. The player has fallen down the hole and ended up in the catacombs. In the second transition, the player must pass the level gate by collecting 3 different keystones to escape. Each tunnel is lit with a different color of a different keystone. The player will then explore different tunnels to collect the different keystones. I wanted to make sure each room was different as I made the player backtrack quite a bit in this section. As the player makes it back to the main catacombs room, they go ahead and open the green door to see if they can get out of this terrible catacombs. And as they notice, there is one more key to get, the infamous red key. In this final room, I wanted to make it feel like a boss room, or how the player essentially finds out what happens to the treasure hunters, and where the final key would be located, which is the red key. Once the player has the final key, they can go ahead and escape the catacombs. Once the player uses the final key, the player will be home free. This level has an adventure theme and was inspired by games like Uncharted, Tomb Raider, and classic movies such as Indiana Jones and The Mummy. The player exits the tunnel and has made it to the rescue center, with a seaplane nearby to take them to civilization. I hope you enjoyed this presentation. Thank you.